Now you can drink your Thanksgiving dessert.
I'm Greg.
I'm Julie, and we're the Crafty Winers.
What are we drinking?
We are drinking huckleberry cider.
And I just started editing that video on how to make it, so that'll be out. If it's not out already, it'll be out soon. So we are doing kind of an odd one. This is a holiday drink. Probably won't drink it outside of a holiday, I would guess.
If you like pumpkin pie, you might.
Pumpkin pie. Nothing wrong with you drinking it year round. But since we don't have pumpkin pie made up that we can put into our cider, we're going to be using Da Vinci Gourmet sugar-free syrup.
Would you really want to puree a pumpkin pie and put it in there? That'd be kind of a mess.
I wouldn't want to try to rack it off the pumpkin pie, probably.
No.
So this video pretty much depends on you having followed our instructions in our base apple cider recipe video, which I'll link above. You end up with a cider that has had the sorbates added so that new fermentation isn't going to start when we add apple juice, but it hasn't had apple juice added yet for flavoring and sweetness. And the pH was left at around 3.8. So that's what we have here in this jar, and you'll get what we have here in this jar if you follow that video's instructions.
Hopefully. If they follow it right.
This has already been racked, so there is no sediment down at the bottom. It's very clear, and that's probably the way that you're going to want to start yours too. If you do have some cloudiness in yours, you can stick it in the fridge for 3 days. It's called cold crashing. Keep it as close to freezing as your fridge will let you go. And at the end of that third day, for sure, you'll have some sediment down at the bottom. And then you're just going to rack it again so that you get it as clear as what we have. And we intentionally have about an inch and a half, maybe an inch and 3/4 of headroom at the top. And that's to give us room for our juice and whatever amount of syrup that we have to put in there to make it taste the way we want it to.
And we use 12 ounces of apple juice concentrate for a gallon of cider.
This happens to be great value Walmart brand, but you can use any 12 ounces of cider. You can put more cider in, you can put less. This both flavors it because right now this is going to have a very weak apple taste because that's how fermentation usually leaves it. But adding this concentrate back in gives it a good, rounded, nice flavor. And 1 can of this for us is the perfect amount, which is convenient because we're not wasting part of a can.
Yeah.
But then the other thing it does is it sweetens it just a little. It's still not a sweet cider at that point, but it is not as sour tasting, and it's a nice sweetness level.
It's a good balance.
The syrup will sweeten it more.
Yes.
So that is totally dependent on your palate. We have a certain amount in mind that we are going to put in, but you may want to put more or less in. And in fact, it will change a little per batch. So we're going to start with the amount that we think, and then we're going to taste it. And if it's not enough, we will put more in until we like it. You have the added benefit of seeing us adjust our recipe to make it good for this particular batch. So I had forgotten to defrost the apple cider concentrate. The Great Value brand does have instructions on the side of it for how to defrost it, which is convenient. But I noticed there's still a chunk of ice in here.
Oh, it's going to splash. It's going to splash on my face, probably.
If you're more prepared than me, you'll have let this defrost naturally, and there won't be it's more of slush. It's less chunk.
It's a slushy, an apple slushy.
But the cider actually has been sitting in room temperature for several days, so
it should
defrost, thaw out fast. And again, we already know very well what this base cider tastes like at this point with the juice added. There's no need for us to taste it now. You can if you like. But we are going to just go ahead and add syrup to it.
We are very familiar with the taste of our cider. We do a lot of cider tasting.
And lemonade.
And lemonade. So we start out with 2 ounces because we found that we always need at least 2 ounces.
Yeah, we've never put less than 2 ounces of any sugar-free syrup in. We use sugar-free syrup for a couple of reasons. For one, sometimes you can get away without adding the sorbates because the sugars that are in sugar-free syrup are actually not fermentable. So you get a sweetness without having actual sugar raising the calories of your drink.
But you wouldn't be able to put the apple juice in.
Correct, because the apple juice has sugar. So
Right.
you can do this instead and skip the apple juice completely, and it will have less apple flavor and more pumpkin flavor.
It's true.
And you might like that. We like a little mix of both. But the obvious thing with sugar-free syrup is that you don't have that many calories. If you look at the label on this, it's got 0 calories, 0 fat. It's got a little bit of sodium. It's got no carbs, no sugars, no protein. It's basically, this doesn't exist. It's not really here. It's your imagination.
Let's not read the ingredients.
The sweetness that comes from this is going to be a little bit different than a sugared pumpkin pie syrup, if you could find that. But the sweetness that comes in from the apple juice concentrate will cover a lot of that up. So that's one of the reasons we choose to use the concentrate and put sorbates in here to keep it from re-fermenting and using sugar-free syrup.
So we're going to start with the 2 ounces. You can start with less if you're unsure of what this is going to taste like. We're just really familiar with these particular Da Vinci syrups. If you're using a sugar-based one instead of the sugar-free, these are a little bit sweeter than sugar syrups, so we always have to put more of the sugared kind in than the sugar-free. I'm going to go ahead and pour this in, and then if you want to use the sucky thing to get the syrup out.
This is the sucky thing.
AKA a turkey baster that we're going to be using soon for something other than winemaking.
Yeah, at the beginning of October right now while we're recording this. So, and then we'll stir it up real good and make sure that before we taste this, all of that concentrate has thawed and dissolved into this. There is a little bit of CO2 bubbling, which if this was a wine, you would want to make sure you got rid of that before you bottled it. We are going to be force carbonating this because we don't have to worry about sugars at all with force carbonating it. We're not putting yeast into it. If you want to do this and you want to naturally carbonate it, keep in mind you don't have to carbonate this at all. It's going to still be pretty good without being carbonated. But if you want a carbonated cider, and most ciders are carbonated, you can't do the apple juice concentrate. At least you can't do the full can of apple juice concentrate. And the reason why, to get a cider level, carbonation level, you're going to put 6.5 grams of sugar into this. But when we put the apple juice concentrate in, we actually put around 180 grams of sugar. So far too much. Champagne level carbonation is like 75 grams of sugar. So it would be over twice the carbonation level of champagne, and you're going to for sure either have a bottle bomb before you take the lid off or a bottle bomb when you take the lid off, and it's going to be so carbonated that it wouldn't be worth drinking. So your option, if you put the apple juice concentrate in like we suggest for flavor, you will have to force carbonate the cider if you're going to carbonate it. Unfortunately. The syrup doesn't affect that since there's no sugar, and again, a good reason to use sugar-free syrup.
Well, I can tell it's going to need more.
Yeah, but I like that. You can definitely taste the level coming up. You can taste the pumpkin pie.
Yeah, it's kind of like an after note.
It needs more. I don't think twice as much would be a bad thing.
Okay, I'll do
another 2 ounces.
2 ounces.
Carbonation will change the flavor of the cider, and in most cases it takes the flavor away a little bit, so it's good for it to be a little bit over strong. And you see that headroom that we had is almost gone.
Yes, it is. You know, you could use sugar-free apple syrup to flavor it apple and then put the sugar-free pumpkin pie.
And there is such a thing, but what we have is green apple.
Oh yeah, ours is green.
And I don't know about that.
Well, we haven't tried it, but it's going to definitely be more sour.
You could do that, and maybe we'll do a video on that at some point using sugar-free apple or apple cider syrup, if there is such a thing, and then pumpkin pie syrup, and then you could naturally carbonate it pretty easily.
Yeah.
But I also know from experiments that we will have on video here soon that you can get away with putting half a can of this in and the carbonation should come out to be, it's going to be quite carbonated, champagne level
It probably
carbonation.
will be, yeah.
But it also gives you part of that flavor back in.
Mm.
So
Maybe I should drink the rest of this so we're not mixing it.
should. I can smell the pumpkin pie. Should I not put so much in there so you don't have so much to drink?
Hey, look,
This is gonna be
we're
pretty.
using one of the glasses I etched on.
Oh yeah, we did a glass etching video that I'll link since it just happened to come up. That was total coincidence.
That was. It's getting there. I think the pumpkin pie syrup is not quite as strong a flavor as some of them that we deal with,
Yeah, you're right.
but
This is good though.
it's got a pumpkin note.
I made it so you didn't have to finish
Oh,
it.
thank you.
Mhm.
Well, how much more do you think?
2.
Okay,
So this is going to be 6 ounces.
so far.
I think that'll end up being the magic amount.
Okay. We'll see.
I didn't use the sucky thing on the last one. That was the problem.
Ah,
Syrup is very strong, so it's good to not leave any in the measurer.
sure. The jigger.
Sugar.
Oh, let me write down that we added 2 more.
So we're at a total of 6 now.
Yep.
Guess there's no reason to take the spoon out until we know we're good. I think that's good. In my opinion, if we put more in, it's going to start getting too sweet.
Put a little more in there so I can taste it again. I just want it to
Again,
actually
so-
kind of taste like pumpkin pie.
Carbonation, it does.
I mean, I want it to taste really like pumpkin pie after we carbonate it.
Carbonation adds bitterness, which will change the sweetness level too.
I think it's pretty good. You can taste pumpkin pie. You're right. Maybe if we put more of this, it might get too sweet. The sweetness level right now, I think, is great.
It's okay. I just said I wouldn't make it sweeter.
Yeah. But carbonating it will
It reduces.
take some of the sweetness
It'll
away.
reduce some of the sweetness. It adds a little bit of bitterness, and then it probably might reduce a little bit of the pumpkin pie flavor. But I mean, honestly, in my opinion, on a cider, most of the time you just want a hint of that flavor anyway. You know, it's what is
Yeah.
that in the background flavor? You don't want it to be overwhelming since it's a cider. If it's a seltzer or something, I can see you want
You
more.
want the
But
flavor.
this is a cider, so it should be apple and something else.
Right. I mean, unless you're making a cider out of pear, and then it should taste like pear. But
Arguable.
okay,
So
well,
I think we carbonate it and see how it tastes after it's carbonated.
yeah.
It's got a strong enough flavor, and again, if we put more of this in there, I think it's gonna end up being too sweet. But
Okay.
this is the second batch of this that we did, and in this one we've put at least twice as much of the syrup in as we did the first one. But on the first one, after we carbonated it, it was like I can't really tell what
Yeah.
this is,
It just tasted like apple cider.
pretty much.
Yeah.
So twice as much in there now. I think that it'll be discernible what it is. So
Yeah.
we'll come back after we've carbonated this and go from there.
Okay, so we carbonated our pumpkin pie cider, and we are going to taste it. We have not tasted this yet, but it tasted good before we carbonated it, so
We just
I have high hopes.
finished our holiday cider video, so I still am tasting holiday cider. I did rinse our glass out, but I'm not expecting this one to have as much flavor as the holiday cider did, because it has a lot of flavor.
Yeah.
But we'll see. And the corgis are frolicking right off the bat tonight. So Nori is pulling on Pippin's bandana, and Pippin is not very happy about that.
Oh yeah, her cute Halloween bandana that we got her. I think it's good, but I just had an idea for the next time we make it. Maybe we could put the real cinnamon and cloves in this too,
Mm-hmm.
and let it sit for a little bit.
Yeah, that's a variation you guys can try. The holiday cider has cinnamon in it, which is probably why she thought of it.
And cloves.
Yeah, this is pretty good.
I like it,
I mean, like I thought, it's not as strong tasting as a holiday cider, but
but it's
this is
good.
this is good. If you give it to somebody to taste with a cold intro, they may not realize that that's pumpkin pie.
They'll still like it though, because it's yummy.
But once you're told it's pumpkin pie, I think it tastes kind of like that, but a little more flavor, a little more of the pumpkin syrup. Wouldn't have heard of this, but the cinnamon idea is good too. So.
Yeah, I think that would, in your brain, you always put cinnamon in pumpkin pie. You know, the pumpkin pie spice has cinnamon and cloves and stuff
Right.
in it. So I think that would probably bring it to the forefront a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it tastes good. I like it.
Well, this will definitely get used during Thanksgiving.
Yes, well, if it makes it to Thanksgiving, I'll try.
We'll,
I'll restrain myself.
I'll hide some from you so you can't find it.
Yeah, like you did the blueberry lemonade.
Not very successfully.
Well, thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you try it and let us know if you did try it, what you thought of it, and any ideas you have to improve it. We'd like to hear those comments. Please like the video and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, cheers!